Welcome to the Sporting Clays Nation podcast, brought to you by the National Sporting Clays Association. We are excited to bring you the latest news and conversations with industry leaders and professionals so you can be ready for the next time you pull the trigger. Now get settled in and get comfortable as we load up for an action-packed episode.
Howdy, Austin. How's it going?
Hey, Cliff, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you
Yeah, of
for
course.
doing it a second time. I really appreciate it. For our guests that don't know, we recorded this episode a couple of weeks ago, and for a lot of it, we talked about how hard it is to win a regional competition and how hard it is to just go out and compete at the championship tour and bring home a victory. And Austin talked a little bit about the struggles of that, and we'll talk about that later. But since that was the core of the episode, and if you haven't heard yet, Austin is the very first champion at the first tour stop at the Western Regional Championship. He's gained the nickname the Beast of the West, and I'm happy that he was so kind and willing to redo this one with us. So I'd love to talk about that tournament with you, Austin, but for our guests that don't know you yet, I created a little segment I did with Joe last week. I'd love to just ask you a few quick pre-written questions, and I just want you to answer them as fast as you can. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We're going to start off nice and slow here, just so everyone can get to know you. Austin, where are you from?
From Houston, Texas.
Do you have any pre-shoot superstitions?
I do not. I'm a just let it ride kind of guy.
None at all. Not same underwear. Joe told us last week he wears the same underwear to every tournament. You do nothing like that?
No, that's
No.
crazy.
He's had them since he was 13, he said, Austin. He wears them every Sunday.
I think if I had a pair of underwear from when I was 13, it would maybe fit around my ankle.
It'd be socks, right?
Yes.
Are there any targets you absolutely hate?
Big middies. Hate big middies.
Hate big middies. What's a big midi look like? Like a looping midi or just far away?
Just far away, hard to read the line and speed on a deep midi, and it's just a pain in my you know what.
So how do you approach those? How do you break those down then?
Let it ride on the first shot and see if it works.
If it works, and if it doesn't, do something else. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you believe in choke tubes? You think they work? You think they're a little overrated? What do you do?
I think they're a little overrated. Personally, I shoot extreme 20s on everything, and I never take them out unless it's like a 10-yard rabbit. I'll throw a zero in, but that's about it. I
Yep.
think if you put the pattern in the right spot, any target close far, it'll break.
You never go tighter than the 20, huh?
Never. I've broken targets 100 yards. I'm good.
Is that what's stuck in the gun all of Arizona, the 20s?
The 20s. Yep.
I know you're a big hunter. What is the coolest animal that you have ever went hunting for?
Well, I've never killed one, but I love going out to West Texas and trying to hunt aoudad. I had a chance at one a few years ago and missed. It was blowing like 50 miles an hour, 300 yards, and I missed shooting off my buddy's back. But that's one that one of my favorite things to try to do, but I've never killed one. That's probably my favorite thing to do.
Is that usually as good of a shot as you can get at one of those things? Is it always like a long range 300-yard shot, or do you ever get a chance to get them closer?
Most of the time it's a longer distance, but you can get lucky and sneak up on them and where you see them before they see you and get a quick shot off closer. But most of the time they're in groups and they've got a lot of eyes looking at you. So it's usually pretty tough to get close.
What do you and your dad hunt at your ranch? And what's that ranch's name? I know, but I'd just like the audience to know.
We call it Rancho Cerveza, and we got a good mix. We should mostly hunt whitetail out there, whitetail deer, but we shoot a lot of hogs. We have a bunch of Rio Grande turkeys out there as well, and we duck and dove hunt out there too.
For our
A little bit of
non-bilingual
everything.
audience, that means ranch of beer, I think. Beer ranch.
With the beer ranch, yeah.
The beer ranch.
What I like to say when people ask, because I got a logo on my vest, I say it's a place we go to drink beer and deer hunt on the side.
I guess back to the clay shooting now. If you could have a walk-up song before any shoot-off, what would it be?
It's gonna be Love Sosa by Chief Keef.
Love Sosa by Chief Keef. Is that a rap song?
Yes, it's a rap song. Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard it. I'm a little scared to listen to it, but I'll listen to it after the show.
We listened to it the other day when we were going to dinner that one night, Cliff, in
Oh,
Arizona.
that was a good song. I don't think I listened to the
Yeah,
lyrics that good, but it had a beat. I liked it.
yeah, exactly.
If you could shoot with any clay target legend, current or past, who would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Doesn't have to be a sporting clay shooter.
Okay, Leo Harrison,
Why Leo?
God of trap. I
Yeah.
can't shoot trap, so I would love to shoot with him.
We love the late and great Leo Harrison. He made some great videos for anybody that hasn't gone onto YouTube to learn a little bit more about clay shooting in general. Leo was probably one of the first people to make those videos, and he had this great one, and he was talking about imagining winning a tournament, and he'd grab a shell and he'd hold it up, and he'd just talk about how he pictured that win, and it's just a great video. It's really
All
knowledgeable one
time.
too. Just the
He was our
all-time great.
motivator when we were shooting in college. We always would watch his videos before we'd shoot trap and doubles trap just to get us in the right mood.
They were awesome. I
So,
remember Austin one time did the whole routine, held up the shell, and the trap gods were with him because he ran 100 straight on singles and then lit up doubles trap too. So he was right. You got to envision the win. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit later if you did that for your regional championship win. Okay, my last question, Austin. In a squad, would you rather shoot with a bunch of serious guys, or do you want a loose and friendly attitude with people joking around?
honestly, I like a mix of both. But you know me. If I'm when I'm shooting, I'm loose and making everybody have fun, keeping the vibe high. Because when you get too serious, it's at the end of the day, we're competing, but it's all a game. We're shooting clays out of the sky for fun. But I like to be competitive and have fun at the same time. Root everybody on, fist pumps. Like it.
How do you manage that balance when you're shooting with your squad like that? And you did so well at this past regional championship. How did you go through the week and keep that positive attitude day in and day out, knowing with all that pressure that was there? Were you still joking around, or did it get more serious and serious, or how did you balance
on
that?
on Sunday it got a little tight, but I just try to keep it light and keep it fun because for me, if it keeps your mind off a little bit, you're cheering the squad on. Like wasn't shooting with pro squad with regional, so I was shooting with some new guys I never met, and they were a great group of guys. So it was fun to interact with them the whole time. Kept my mind off of the round, just moving station to station. So I just kind of it helps me keep my mind off. If I'm too tight and serious, it just like kind of starts to spiral. It's like I've got to have fun with it.
This was your first shoot in a year where you were off the pro squad. Did you think that helped you at all, or was it
I
just
don't know. I
normal
think
business?
it was normal business. It was just a different atmosphere because ever since they started when it started with the super squad, I had been on it, and so I hadn't really in a while in a main event experience shooting with like random squads and stuff. So it was definitely a change, but I enjoyed it. It was fun, but I don't think it changed my mindset or anything like that.
You're now technically a sandbagger because you were in master class for one shoot and you won the whole thing outright.
Yeah, I guess you could call me a sandbagger for one shoot, right? It was
But
kind of fun. I enjoyed it.
now you're back in the pro squad. How did you enjoy that Western Regional Championship?
It was a lot of fun. It's such a unique place to shoot. It's like there's not a whole lot of like crazy terrain. It's just the background. It makes it such a different challenge that we get anywhere else in the United States. And so it was a great time.
Did you practice at all for that tournament? Could you simulate any of those targets in Texas, or did you just go in and wing it?
Well, I actually this was it for this shoot. I mean, last year I didn't hardly practice at all. Didn't compete well at all. So I kind of had an eye opener at Jack Links. I kind of got my butt whooped and everything, and so I put my mind to it, and it's probably the most I've practiced for one shoot in the last 3 years. I knew we were going to shoot a lot of blackbirds, going into Arizona, so I pretty much I would go station to station at Greater and find a pair of black targets in the sky and just shoot a box there and move to the next one, find black birds, shoot it there. Just trying to get that, because at Greater Houston, the south course is and the north course a little bit is a good way to practice when you're not being able to see the traps, because they a lot of low brush so that you can hide them. So it helps kind of figure out that depth perception that you see in Arizona.
Did you struggle at all in Arizona, or did you pick it up right away, like step off the plane and you were breaking targets? Did you have any pain points during the tournament? Did you feel like you were underperforming at all, or was it just smooth sailing the whole way through?
Well, when I shot the U.S. Open there a few years ago, I can't remember, maybe 22 is when that was out there. My first event off the plane was the main event, 8 a.m. and I shot horrible. It was like probably the easiest course of the U.S. Open, and I shot really bad. So coming into this one, I didn't want to have that same thing happen. So I scheduled where I shot two events. I shot the five stand, the prelim on Thursday, to try to kind of get my mind adjusted to reading the lines, seeing what certain birds, what kind of lead they're going to take, what they look like. And I would say, I mean, I shot the five stand pretty well. It was a tough layout, but when I shot the prelim, I didn't shoot the prelim well. I made a lot of weird mistakes on misreading lines, misreading leads, and so I definitely didn't step off hot. Like the prelim was a little rough. I think I shot. It wasn't a super hard course. I think I shot 93, but I just missed a bunch of birds that looked super easy, but they took a lot more lead than I thought. So it kind of helped me dial it back and figured it out.
How do you make those changes without like focusing too much on them? Because you could walk out of that prelim and say like, "Oh, I missed high on four of these targets just because I didn't see them sinking down on me in the wind." So you want to not do that the next day in the most important event, the main event. How do you keep yourself from dwelling on those things instead of just fixing them?
Hey, that's a good question, Cliff. Honestly, it was just kind of like make a plan and stick to it, and kind of the first few stations of the round to get used to it, watch your squad shoot and kind of really study those birds, and just kind of look and see how they're breaking them, where they're breaking them, and kind of get you a better judgment on the distances. So I figured my plan going into Friday was to really study each station before I went into the cage. So I was looking at where the birds were landing, because sometimes those crosshairs look like they might be 40, 50 yards, but if you look where the bird lands, it lands at 35. And so that's going to change your plan a little bit. Or the bird looks like it's kind of quartering out, but you see where the trap is all the way on the right, and it's landing 60 yards left of where it comes out. So it's full crossing when it doesn't look that way. So that's kind of my plan, was to go in there and make sure I was studying each station before I got in the cage.
What felt like the hardest part of the shoot for you?
Just maintaining rhythm. It's tough. Each station had some like each. It was good because it wasn't super repetitive. The timing on the shots, a lot of times you can get out there. It's like the same thing, same timing. But the way Tim said, all the pairs, I thought the timing was good, so it kind of kept you loose. But it was just tough to go in there and do it consistently on every station because they were all different.
I'm assuming you want to win another regional and you want to win another big
Yeah.
shoot. If you could write down one thing that you did especially well and that you're most proud of to do the next time, what would that be?
Just taking it one station at a time, honestly. I felt like I was really strong about, like, if I say I missed one on the next station, I was just like, I could be upset about it, but just move on and shoot the next station like it's the new course. That was something I felt like I did really well. And I just would love to try to repeat that, because it's been tough for me in the past sometimes, or because I think the first 2 days I missed on my first station of the round. And so for me to just kind of settle in and go one station at a time, I think all 3 days I put on a couple good runs, like running 5 or 6 stations in a row, which helped me out in the long run. But it felt good to do that, just flush early misses and run some stations and get through the round.
Do you think momentum's important in sporting clays? Do you think like running stations consecutively makes you shoot better later, or do you think it's just kind of random? You're going to do as well as you can on that station, and it is not dependent on any stations before.
Yeah, I, I think it definitely helps. At least for me, um, especially when you miss early in a round, to put up, or say you miss one or two on the first station and then go and run the next four, it kind of resets your whole motive or your whole, I don't even know what I'm trying to get at, but it just kind of resets you and you're back comfortable. But if you go and you miss two on the first, run the second, miss another one on the third, then you kind of it starts to get a little chippy and choppy. I definitely think when you get a big run of stations going, it helps your confidence in the long run because you're like, okay, we're moving through this and just run a few more, we'll be good.
I think oftentimes we see some courses that independent of the size of the tournament, a regional or a local shoot, you'll have an easier stretch and then a harder stretch. If you had a preference, would you rather start on the easy end or start on the hard end?
I could see it both ways. I would prefer to start on the easier side to get a run going, get some momentum. That way, I'm feeling good with my moves, feeling good with my connections. If you start say you start on the hardest station, and you drop like three or four, then it kind of can put a damper on your round. But if you start on the easier stretch, then you can get a run going and kind of maybe help you shoot better on the harder stuff.
Yeah, I
From
agree.
personal experience, that's kind of how I feel.
I agree, and I think you were dead on the money with the whole gaining momentum thing. I think it's really important, unless unless things aren't going your way, and then you got
Yeah,
to lie to
sometimes.
yourself and say like it's going to get better, even though you know it might not be. But
And all this, it just depends on the courses too. Sometimes you're only going to run super hard course, you're only going to run three or four stands, and so you just take each run like it's momentum shift. So it just all depends on the course. If it's a medium hard course, you're going to be able to run a lot more stations. So putting them together helps for sure.
I mentioned earlier how we're now redoing this episode because so much of the last one, we talked about how hard it is to win a regional championship. What does this win mean to you as a competitor?
It means a lot, honestly. I've been close a lot, and I've never been able to finish the deal. And it means honestly a lot. It's probably the biggest moment in my shooting career. Um, it's been hard for me to shoot consistently the last few years where I can put up two great. It's most of these shoots now are 3 day mains, and so a lot of times I can shoot two great days and one off day, and that's never enough. So for to finally put three really good days together in one shoot it was a great momentum shift for me. Brings me a lot of confidence moving forward that I finally did it. So I feel like that'll help in the long run. It's not going to have that weight on my shoulder going into Sundays now with the good score because I feel like I've done it now. I just repeat what I did now and just roll with it.
Do you like that 66 bird format better than the 100 bird format?
Yes and no. I love the 100 bird mains. It's more of a grind, I think. The 66 birds, they go by quick. So I do like that aspect of it because you can be on a roll early and be like, oh, well, I've only got three stations left. But the 100 birds, it's kind of a unique challenge because like a lot of places now you're shooting 16, 17 station courses on a 100 bird main event. And that's a grind. Like it's a lot of presentations you got to get through and a lot of like mental challenges through the course. So I mean, I guess I would say I like the shorter courses because they go by quicker, but I will always like the 100 birds too.
Yeah. Do you think there's a difference in difficulty between the two, or are they about the same?
I would say it's probably harder to shoot a big score on a 100 bird or 100 course layout or 100 bird layout, just because, like I said, now they're 16, 17 station courses, and it's hard to run all those stations if you want to put up a big score.
Where's your next tournament? Where are you looking forward to going?
Well, the Browning Bradley is coming up in a few weeks at Great Houston, so I'm looking forward to that. Some big payouts that I think a lot of people are traveling here for. So looking forward to that one. I'm shooting a few other regionals and the World English and stuff like that, U.S. Open nationals. But I'm looking forward to Browning Bradley coming up and at the home club. So quick travels, no long plane rides.
Yeah, that'll be nice. How
Yeah,
far is the range from you?
like 15 minutes.
What does that tournament look like? How many targets is it, and how many days is it over?
It's over 2 days, 100 bird main event. each day. The main event starts on Friday, ends on Saturday. So the shoot's over on Saturday, so easy travel day Sunday for everybody usually. So it's kind of cool. It's a unique thing they started doing a few years ago.
Is it the same layout as the Diamond Classic?
No, it's different. Diamond ends on Sunday. I think they started doing the Browning Briley ending on Saturdays because they usually have a huge banquet on Saturday night that they were feeling like a lot of people weren't attending.
Hmm.
So they did it where it finishes on Saturday. So they do awards and everything with the banquet on Saturday night now. So it's kind of cool. It's a little different.
Do you think you shoot better with money on the line? The Browning Briley is going to be a big money shoot. The Western Regional is a big money shoot. Do you think is that a motivator for you? Do you tend to do better in those situations, or are you
I
indifferent?
don't usually try to think about it. Obviously, it's a nice plus if you shoot well. Um, but I mean, if you're on a good number, it can start to get in your head. Like I know on Sunday, I was sitting there, I was shooting well, coming down the stretch, and I was like, man, where are the payouts? Like I got a good number. I'm curious, and I looked, I was like, oh shit, like this got some more pressure on me now, you know.
Right. Remind you,
It has
yeah.
drifted my mind before. It's like, or if I'm feel like I'm not shooting as well, I'm like, well, it's okay. We're still could be in the money if I don't tank all these stations, you know. But yeah, it's a good plus. But I try not to let it get to me. It's just we're out there shooting, so it's always a bonus to have good payouts, you know, if you shoot well.
Yeah, all for the love of the game for the most part. I'm
Yeah,
looking
for
forward
sure.
to that World Championship in San Antonio. Do you have any special practice sessions you're going to do for that? Are you going to have a similar approach to your Tucson
I'm shoot.
regional practice sessions?
I'll probably just try to shoot a lot of quartering birds.
A lot of quartering birds.
I feel like every time we're out there, there's a bunch of them. So I'll probably just really dial that in. Shoot good on some deep quartering stuff, field true pairs and stuff like that. They never throw anything super crazy. The green course usually has some good birds, but
Yeah.
if you can shoot well I feel like if you can shoot well on belly crossers and quartering shots, you can usually put up decent numbers out there. So that's probably what I'll really work on.
What does a practice session with you look like? Do you try and work a bunch of singles? Do you shoot a full round? How do you break it down?
So usually, what I've been doing recently, Joe Benizzi actually kind of got me doing this more when we practiced a bunch in college. He shoots a lot of singles in his practices. Um, I've been at Greater. We have 4 traps on each station, so I've been liking to incorporate a bunch of singles. So I'll go out there and I'll shoot like 2 single 1s, 2 single 2s, and then shoot couple like the 3s and 4s are usually the hard birds on the stations. So I just try to break at least 2 singles before going into the pairs, and then I'll just go and just try to break 4 or 5 pairs after I shoot the singles, and just
What
move on. Try to shoot a lot of presentations at once, like a bunch of stations, low volume on the station.
do you approach targets any differently in practice versus when you would in a competition? Do you like try and watch them break longer or analyze them in a different way, or is it just competition mindset for your practice?
It's mostly competition mindset. There's a few like certain targets like where you'll see them in a true pair, and you've got to usually shoot them out of position. So I when I was coming up in the game, I was taught a method to kind of practice they call it A, B, and C zones. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So like say it's like a big quartering teal or something. I'll shoot 3 times on a single, try to shoot it in the A zone, which is quick, pretty quick off the arm. Then B zone's like right in the money, right in the, where you would normally break it. C zone's late. So if it's a true pair and you've got to shoot one bird, like if it's a true pair, you got to either shoot that teal quick, right? Or if it's you got to shoot a quick crosser underneath it first, then you got to shoot that teal in the C zone and shoot it later. So I like to certain targets where I know I have to shoot in different spots. I'll work that, like kind of stuff like that. But mostly it's just yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Is there anything in specifically you want to get better at before this next shoot, or are you overall very happy with your game, which I'm sure you probably are?
I'm pretty happy, but there's still a lot of where places I need to improve on. Um, certain presentations, I know middies, like I said earlier, big middies. I shot one today in practice, and it gave me a hard time. So there's always room for improvement in this game. You'll never be perfect. It's not like trap or skeet. You're never going to shoot hundreds every time. So there's always places you're going to improve. Some weeks you're going to shoot great on certain birds. Some weeks you're going to shoot better on other birds. It's always different.
Do you think you ever have more barrel awareness with the targets you struggle with more or less? Do you try and let it fly, or do you really try and be careful with it?
Well, it just depends. Sometimes when I'm struggling on certain targets, I start getting careful and trying to be like picky and choosy, and I'm looking at the barrel too much, and so it's hard. But I try not to. It's hard.
We talked about the late great Leo Harrison earlier, and we kind of joked about how we watched his videos and everything in college, and he does mean a lot to us and in our friend group just because he's a big confidence guy, and he talked about envisioning winning the championship, holding up that trophy. Do you do any of that in your mental game or your mental preparation?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to visualize yourself holding up the trophy at the end of the day, right? I don't do it a lot, but it's always a good reminder. It's like if you can't picture yourself winning, then why are you out there?
I read an interesting article in this last Sporting Clays Nation magazine, and it was written by George Digweed, and he talked about all of the mental work he does before the shoot and how seriously he takes that end of the game. And he didn't really put a lot of emphasis on like the mechanic end of it because he kind of alluded that his game's so simple. He swings through 99% of the targets. He mentioned Anthony Matarese in there a little bit later in the article. He said him and Anthony were having a conversation when they were doing some filming of their video series they did. And Anthony always does the pre-shot with his hand, and he's moving his hand back and forth and getting the line down. And George wrote that he doesn't tend to do that, but he noticed he probably doesn't do it because he doesn't have to be so concerned with the line of the target because he's swinging through it. With that kind of simplified mental approach, is that something all shooters should strive for, or should it be a little bit more complicated?
I think it just depends on how you shoot and how you approach the game. Some people are going to have a simple approach like that where you shoot one method on everything, no matter what. I mean, when you do that, you don't really have to think about much else. It's just always going to depend on the shooter, depend on your style. Like you were saying, Anthony, I think he shoots kind of combination of everything. So he's always making a plan on how he's going to approach each station. So it makes sense that I think everybody would do it differently.
What do? You do a combo too, don't you? All sorts of different
Yeah,
moves.
yeah. I have to make a plan and on each station. I'm kind of the same way. Just depends on the presentation of what I'm going to do. So it's kind of a little more complicated, I guess, than shooting one method.
Does it ever get hard to mentally manage throughout the round? Like, let's say there's a trap bird and you have four different ways to shoot it. How do you end up deciding?
It's just whatever feels natural. It's like I know how I can. I mean, you can break any bird with any sort of method, right? I think it's just however it fits you, right? So I'm going to go up there, and my first instinct is what I'm going to do. If it's a big slow crosser, I'm probably going to say to start far out and let the bird creep to me, so I have minimal gun speed. Or if it's a close shot, I'll probably start in the back edge and swing through it. Quartering shots, I pretty much only shoot like intercept on them, so I'm not going to think much about those. But just depends. I mean, but usually what I like to do is go with my first instinct and stick with that. Unless it doesn't work on the first pair, then maybe I'll switch it up. But most of the time, I'll just let it ride and shoot whatever I think on the first go.
Do you feel like when you are nervous at all about a pair or a target, let's say an individual target, do you feel like you revert back to like what you've always done, even though I've noticed this. I practice a way to shoot this target and I shoot this target, and then I finally see it in a tournament and I can't commit to it. So I've shot it like I've done it for the past 10 years. Do you do that, or do you trust your practice?
Trust the practice. It's like it works in practice, so it's like obviously if it's a new thing and you're not comfortable with it, I wouldn't suggest doing it. But if your initial thoughts, like go back to your basics, doesn't work, then maybe try out what you worked on in practice, you worked on it for a reason, right? It's hard though if you're not comfortable with it. I mean, you don't want to have doubt when you're shooting the station because that makes everything kind of spiral.
I agree. What's your next big shooting goal?
Well, I always, I mean, winning a regional was my number one goal for a long time, and finally achieved that this past week. And so I guess my next goal is going to be U.S. Open, Nationals, something like that, a little big major, World English, something like that. Maybe World FITASC, something bigger.
Do you think realistically there's a difference in difficulty in winning one of those shoots? Because you arguably went to this regional and all of the best shooters in the United States were there, maybe less one or two. Do you think if you did everything that you did there that you'd win the US Open?
It's possible. It just all depends on the week. Everybody shoots different every week. Some people shoot better, some people shoot worse. It just, if everything falls in line, I feel like it could be the same.
You've just started working at a new company now. You're working for your fiance's dad at the paint company. How are you liking that job, first of all?
I'm liking it a lot. It's a little bit different of what I was doing in commercial landscape. It's been really good. I've enjoyed it so far. It's only been I think 5 months now, but I'm liking it a lot.
Do you like your boss? Is he being nice to you?
Yeah, he's being good. Yeah, he's being nice to me. So far, I haven't messed anything up majorly yet, I guess.
No special treatment, huh?
No, absolutely not. No.
Where you get some reverse nepotism. It's nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you miss college at all? Do you miss our shooting days back at Texas A&M?
Oh yeah. I was ready to get out of there when I was there, but now looking back, I wish we were all still there. It was a lot of fun.
Do you miss our old competitions where we had to shoot a little bit of skeet and trap? Or are you happy to just be shooting sporting clays now?
I um I do miss them, honestly. It was hard to get into that mental space to shoot all those slow games and skeet and trap and stuff like that. But it was a fun challenge, to go out there and shoot every discipline in one week. It was hard, but it was a lot of fun. I do kind of miss it. I don't really miss shooting those games for practice, but I miss the competitions.
You were an excellent collegiate competitor too. You won an individual ACUI national championship. How does that rank in terms of difficulty versus this last regional you just won?
It's hard to say. I think there's so many good shooters that like shoot all the events that are really good. I think it's super hard to win the collegiate nationals just because you've got to shoot really good in all the disciplines. Not You can't just shoot good in sporting clays, can't just shoot good at skeet. You've got to shoot good in everything. So that makes it a challenge within itself because I mean, there's people that can shoot hundreds in trap, hundreds in doubles trap, but they can't shoot great in skeet or they can't shoot great in sporting clays and vice versa. So it makes it really tough to win because I mean, you got to shoot super well at everything.
Yeah, and you have to cheer on your team because at the end of the day, it's a team event, and that's
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
work too to care about their shooting along with yours. Austin was always our hype man. Uh, but we have some funny videos of us on the skeet field and Austin after every pair he'd go, yeah, yeah, and he'd throw his holes on the ground. And he'd be all pumped, and he would be so exciting to watch shoot American skeet singles that he would actually attract a crowd. I remember we had two sets of grandparents and a couple of mom and dads, and our coach went up to talk to him. And they go, "Oh, you must be the parents or the grandparents of these kids out here. Which ones are yours?" And they go, "Oh, no, no, no. Our kids shoot for Shriner, but these kids are way more exciting to watch, especially that one." And they point to Austin, and he lined him up. He was that exciting to watch shoot. I don't think the referees cared much for it, to be honest with you.
Probably
But
not.
probably
That
a
was the
little
only
too
way I could get into it, is like you got to have some intensity because you can kind of fall asleep shooting all those every day.
It did keep the squad involved. I remember, I forgot who was shooting first. If it was either You were Joe Finizzi. I think Joe was shooting after you because he'd watch you shoot. And if anybody has seen Joe shoot before, he has his little routine, and it takes a while. And he fixes his hat, he fixes his glasses, he checks to see if the gun's loaded, all this. And he is deadpan. There is not a smile, there is not a laugh, there is nothing. He is just laser focused, like Tom Brady going out in the fourth quarter to win a football game. But every time Austin got out of that skeet station, throw his holes on the ground and yell, Joe, he just like slowly grow a bigger and bigger smile just by like station 8 at the end of the round. He'd start laughing and shaking his head no, which
Yeah,
he,
he's
he did
probably
well after that.
messing with him too because I go up there, load the shells, and rip it quick, and he's like goes up there with the whole Sporting Clays pre-shot.
Joe can't even get a look at those targets. Austin would call pull and rip it right out of the house. And Joe's fast too, but wasn't as fast as Austin when he was on a heater. Those were fun days for sure. Same with
It
trap.
was
Austin's a
fun.
great trap shooter. I don't know how he does it. He just can stick with it that whole time. I've never figured that one out. Do you ever miss the trap? Do you ever sneak out at Greater Houston and go shoot 116-yard American singles?
No, no. It's one thing I don't miss is the trap. I'm not a fan of traps.
A lot of people talk about using skeet as sporting clays practice, shooting the grid, they'll call it,
Hmm.
and everybody's grid's a little bit different. It's ultimately just walking around shooting a mix of singles and pairs from skeet and true pairs, different directions.
Hmm.
Do you utilize that at all or not really?
It just depends. I will utilize Skeet in my practice if I feel like my timing is off. I'll go out there and I'll shoot 3, 4, and 5, and shoot true pairs and just get my timing back from how I'm locking on the birds quick. Just kind of resets. I feel like it resets you, and then you shoot 50 birds on the skeet field and go back and shoot sporting clays. You feel like you're connecting with the birds a bit better, in my opinion. So I will. Um, every now and then utilize the ski field for my practice for sure.
Can you explain further what that timing means for you? Just break it down into pieces.
Yeah, it's just like for me, it's like how your eyes and your gun are connecting to the birds. It's like if you feel like your eyes are seeing birds too early and your gun's losing connection right as you're pulling the trigger, just your timing is kind of all out of sorts. And when you go to the ski field, you don't have room and it's just natural, just bang bang, quick connection. It kind of resets you, and you go back out, and then that timing feels a little bit better. Your connections a little quicker, connections a little smoother, stuff like that. So it's more like visually and how you're done and how you're moving with the target.
Do you think that's something that like ebbs and flows the timing? Is it vision based or is it just like pure practice based? Can you keep the timing for like an extended duration or is it something that just comes and goes?
It's going to come and go. I think it's based off like visual discipline and stuff like that. If you're not seeing the bird well, your timing is going to feel a little off.
Do you ever make adjustments for that at shoots? Do you notice it a lot at tournaments? Like, okay, my timing's a little bit slower. I'm gonna have to take things later, or do you just keep shooting the same spot and hope to resolve it during the round?
I'll adjust a little bit. Yeah, I'll most of the time for me it's I'm looking at the bird hard too early and my timing's off at the break point. So I'll just adjust and have myself push my focus out a little bit, see the bird later, and then it kind of just blends itself together.
Your Blazer teammates Karen and Geben Miles have been shooting phenomenal with that new FBX. Do you have any plans to switch over to that gun, or are you gonna continue tearing it up with your F3?
I think I'll stick with the F3 for now.
Are you
Um,
are you ever gonna transition into that?
it depends. Haven't really shot one a lot, so I don't really know how I like it. I like the my F3. It's a standard gun, no custom stock, so it's pretty light. I like it light. I don't like a super heavy gun. So I'll probably stick with it unless something drastic changes, and I mean we'll just have to see. I'm happy with my F3. Never had any issues with it, so probably keep rolling with that.
What are some advantages you get from that lighter gun?
For me, I'm comfortable. I know how to move it slow and slow the gun speed down at times, but it also kind of I feel like it helps me if I've got to rip something super quick, I've got a little bit of a whippiness, I can kind of move the gun quick and attack. But I've had to learn over the years. I've shot the same gun for a long time, just basically have three, so I know how to slow the gun down when I need to. So it gives me a little bit of a like versatility, if you would, like on certain birds.
Like a lifeline almost, especially if you're
Kind of,
a little
yeah.
bit behind it. Do you tend to shoot with your body more, or are you a little bit more arms and top half?
When I'm shooting bad, it's because I'm using mostly arms. I feel like I shoot like my best when I'm moving with the hips, moving with my body.
Right. What do you think the purpose of the arms are? I've always thought about it as like, okay, this is going to be like a last second kind of correction to the plan and almost
Hmm.
subconscious. Do you kind of see it the same way, or do you ever utilize them more than your hips?
I use them on my mat, like I like I'm not a huge fan of like hard mount, I like to be out of the gun, even on like quartering shots and trap shots, or in quartering shots and teal and stuff like that. I like to be like soft pressure out of the gun. So I'll use my arms to like just kind of go up and down.
Right. Thank you again so much for being on the show, Austin. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the guests?
No, I think we pretty much covered a lot of things. I'm glad we got to do a retake of all this. It was a good time. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. Anytime. Please come back. I really appreciate your time. Thank you again for doing this twice. It's just kind of funny how that whole timing in life worked out.
Yeah,
We
that was funny.
but it just came full circle, and that happened to be the very first regional you won, and it was really just a sweet moment, and I'm glad we got to redo it because we got to redo it for a good reason. So
Yeah,
I'm
for
so
sure.
excited for you, dude. I know I've texted you the past couple of days, just super stoked for you because I know you're going to build off of it. I know just with a head of confidence, Austin can go to the moon. He's just going to keep on rolling because I think that's all you needed. So I'm
Thank you,
super
Cliff.
excited for you. I'm excited to watch you the rest of the year.
Thank you, Cliff. Really appreciate it.
Of course, I'll see you. I'll see you at the next one. I'll see you at the World English Sporting Clays Championship in San Antonio. It should be a
Yeah.
great shoot and some great targets, and we'll get to see all of our friends from overseas, and hopefully get to see Austin Kiemsteadt in the super final.
Yes, sir. I'll see you there, man.
I'll see you there. Bye, Austin.
The information, opinions, and advice contained in this multimedia content, including any third-party sites listed or linked in such multimedia content, collectively the content, represent the views and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily represent the views, standards, policies, or opinions of the National Skeet Shooting Association, the National Sporting Clays Association, or any of their respective employees, members, volunteers, agents, representatives, or affiliates, collectively the association parties. The mere appearance of the content on the site does not constitute an endorsement by any of the association parties. The content has been made available for information and educational purposes only. Unless specifically stated otherwise, none of the association parties endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in the content, and none of the content should be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. The association parties assume no responsibility for and hereby disclaim any and all liability to any party for any direct, indirect, implied, punitive, special, incidental, or other consequential damages arising directly or indirectly from any adoption or use of the content, which is provided as is and without any warranties. For further clarity, the association parties make no representation or warranty with respect to the accuracy, completeness, applicability, effectiveness, fitness, or completeness of the content, including with respect to their compliance with applicable law.